Hello, and welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to be doing a quick review of a game called Echoes in the Storm. Few games make you feel like you're trapped in a nightmare you can't awake from. Echoes in the Storm promises a psychological horror set in the frozen Arctic, but does it deliver terror, or just cold silence? Now, before we get into the review, I do want to ask if you are liking the channel. I'm really trying to grow here. Can you please give me a like, comment, subscribe? Let me know what you want to see. Give me some suggestions of games, and see if you can help me out. So this is Echo in the Storm. It is a exploration horror style game where you are put into the shoes of a police detective investigating some gruesome crimes in a small Arctic village. Now, as the game progresses, you will see that there are certain things happening and that there is a possibility of some sort of science experiment gone wrong. Now, what really drew me to this game is the whole idea of survival horror. This reminds me a lot of a movie that I watched whenever I was a kid called Storm of the Century. Now, obviously, Storm of the Century by Stephen King didn't influence this in any way, but they have a lot of the same themes. A storm blows in, kind of shutting down a lot of your local norms, and throughout that process, something goes around killing people, and you have to figure out who it is. And that's really the gist of this game. You're a detective. Your job is to find and figure out what is going on here. Now, this is only a demo, with the full game set to be released in October. So if you are interested in this, you can find it on Steam. Now, this game is a bit darker. There is a lot of gore, and it does kind of fall back on that gore factor. So, with that disclaimer, let's go ahead and dive into this. The story and atmosphere is very Alone in the Woods style, where you are trying to figure out what's going on, and there's a lot of little clues kind of written around. You see a lot of changes in the environments. There are some puzzle solving aspects to it as well. If you decide to watch the full playthrough that I did, you'll see that there's a few times that I actually got stuck with these puzzles. So there's a good bit of thinking and challenge to it that you have to kind of overcome. Now, this demo doesn't go very far. It only goes up until you get out of the police station. So there's not a whole lot to discuss in this video. But the overall game mechanics are sound. There's not a lot of frame rate loss or computers getting slowed down or lag between turns and stuff. I will say that some of the actual puzzle solving aspects can be a little bit difficult because it doesn't hold your hand in any way. It doesn't tell you exactly how to do really anything, and it doesn't even tell you that you're trying to solve a puzzle. You just kind of have to click around and figure it out as you go, which can lead to be a somewhat of a turnoff if you are not really into puzzle solving and detective work. But overall, with the puzzles, they are doable, and once you figure out what you're looking for, you can kind of figure out where you're supposed to go. So it's not impossible. You just have to be mindful, and this is where that exploration aspect really comes into play here. You have to look, you have to find the key little things that are going to cause something to happen. Whether it be opening a door, or finding a key, or looking at specific clues to get a certain in-game effect, which can take it a little bit of challenge. Now, there are some jumping sounds and like designed to scare you. I would say in the demo itself there wasn't a whole lot of, oh my god, this is terrifying. It was a slow build up, but there were a couple of points where I did in fact get a bit of a jump scare just due to the audio change or something slamming in the background in a really short like moment's notice. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this did give me that Storm of the Century vibes, where it's an impressive atmosphere. Everything seems dark and kind of gloomy. You can hear wind rustling and the storm kind of blowing through. And it really sets up that atmosphere of being stuck out in the Arctic wilderness with something crazy afoot. There is a lot of audio cues that I wouldn't say are like creepy or things like that, but they do stand out, and you can use those to kind of feel the tension. And overall, it does make for a nice atmospheric game with decent sound design. The sound design itself, I wouldn't say is the best. Again, in the demo here, we are kind of limited on what we get to see, but it does at least start the immersion process. If you are a fan of horror games, you would probably at least get a thrill out of this. Again, I wouldn't say it's the scariest game I've ever played. There's a lot of more of that psychological factor, and some of the puzzles can be kind of unimmersive. And after about 10 minutes of trying to solve the puzzle in the demo, I was starting to get frustrated with it myself, which really leads to kind of my final thoughts on this. The strengths, it has a really good atmosphere. It has that sense that this is you being alone in a storm and something's going on that you have to investigate. Whereas it struggles in full immersion. There's a lot of little things where you could see that it was made by a small company. The graphics are not quite 100%. You'll see clipping through certain things. It doesn't break the immersion, but this is the demo, so hopefully by the time October rolls around, it will get smoothed over and polished. And honestly, overall, if I had to rate this game, it's not going to be the best game I've ever played. But it could be a fun psychological horror if you want to go through something that might be scary, might be more of a gore fest. There was a lot of gore kind of spread throughout it, so that being said, it may not be the best game for you if that kind of thing feels triggering. For me, though, I'll give it 3 out of 5, where it's a solid game, and if they polish it up and get some of the stuff smoothed out, it would really work. But there was enough hiccups in there and enough difficulties for me to kind of navigate the areas and find out what I'm supposed to do without any sort of real clue behind it, that I started to lose immersion and kind of get frustrated with the game. Hopefully, if it is pushed to full release in October like it says it's going to be, they will have it polished up and everything will be kind of easier to understand and easier to follow when it comes to some of those puzzles. Otherwise, it's just a lot of going around and clicking. Well, thanks again, everybody. This has been another review here on our channel. If you are liking the videos or you want to see more, give me a comment. Let me know what I should play next. Like the channel and subscribe.